It's Thursday. We're getting down to business with Cosmo Macero of O'Neill and Associates. Joins us from our Beacon Hill studio every week. Huge day in the markets. The Dow surging 244 points. NASDAQ reaching a 12-year high. Perfect timing, you might say, for President Obama, who will address the DNC and ultimately the nation tonight. Cosmo, what do you think? Perfect storm.
Yeah, it's more of the same. You know, the markets appear to be fans of President Obama. The S&P 500 is at a 4-year high. It's actually up over 70% since the president took office. The Dow Jones is up 35% since the president took office. Historically, that bodes really well for a seated president, for an incumbent. That really favors him. Question is, it's a little bit of a delicate balance for the president. He's not supposed to be the president of Wall Street.
That's right.
And Main Street is still suffering. Unemployment is up. Job growth is lagging. You've heard people say, you know what, 4 years ago, yeah, I think I might have been better off. Well, everyone who's got a 401k, from that perspective, we're better off, yes, for the markets. But with regarding to Main Street, that's a different story.
And we'll see what happens with those markets as we go towards the election cycle here and finish up in November.
There are some economists that suggest if the S&P 500 remains above 1,200, president's a shoo-in for re-election. We'll have to see.
Will indeed. All right, let's go to yesterday's flooding. I mean, this was incredible down in Fall River. People had water up to the roofs of their cars there, and it leads to the question, you know, are people covered? Is this an act of God? What happens to these poor people who had their cars submerged in water for so long? And of course, it's buyer beware, too, if someone tries to sell that car after it dries out.
That's right. Well, number one, yes, it's an act of God. Number two, with regard to coverage, I would say if you've got that comprehensive insurance coverage, you should be okay. You should be covered. If you've only got liability required by law, you could be in trouble there and not be covered for that kind of event. As far as the damage, what to do with that vehicle, that water comes up above your floorboards into the electrical system and sits there for a while. You're talking about a totaled vehicle situation. That thing is no good. And that becomes an issue in the aftermarket because, yeah, you need to look at that Carfax to see what kind of damage has been done to that vehicle. It may still operate, but long term, you may not want to invest in a car like that to sustain that kind of damage.
No doubt about it. And also a good time to make sure you've got rental on your insurance policy because you can put yourself in a vehicle while it's being looked at and looked over. All right, finally, let's talk about gadgets. Big time of year for that.
Yeah. Right now, the next stage of battle between Apple's iPad and the Kindle Fire is about to happen. The new Kindle Fire out today. Apple is betting on some improvements to overall its operations, as well as different sizes, smaller sizes. The Kindle is actually sizing up, and they're betting, Amazon is betting on more services. They say people want more services with their device. They don't want just a device, and Amazon is betting on that as being the way to go to the future.
'Tis the season as we approach, well, can I say it? The holidays, not far off.
It sure is, right around the corner.
With that, I'm going to say thanks to you and send it over.